All right, Doom Vivemus Vivamus Epicureans. This is the Marvel Epic Collection Podcast One-Shot Edition. I'm your host, Nick Smith, and I'm joined by...
Stojr from Stojr Shelf. How's it going, Nick?
I am doing well. We are participating in Kurtis Findlay's Epic Marvel Podcast Reading Club, and this one-shot is going to be our brief thoughts on today's issue, which is X-Men number 97. All right, you ready to do this, Stojr?
Let's jump in. Let's do it.
Okay. My Brother, My Enemy is the title. Claremont is now with solo credits on this issue. All right, so Charles Xavier is having some weird nightmares about spaceships and interstellar empires, and he interprets this as him losing his mind. And his solution is, well, time to go for a trip, I guess. As the X-Men are dropping Professor X off at the airport, they're attacked by Havoc and Polaris, who both seem to be under the mental control of Eric the Red. After destroying a couple of planes, Eric and the former X-Men run away. All right, Stojr, what are you thinking on this one?
So I like this issue. It's starting to set up what we'll know later is the Shi'ar. They got some really cool designs for those ships, right? So this is... it doesn't really look like Star Wars or things like that. It looks different enough. It's obviously emoting some sort of bug looks and feels to it, which gives you a little bit of that Aliens look. But this is pre-Aliens, I think, right?
Yeah.
I'd have to look up when Alien. I know Aliens was the early '80s, but Alien was probably 79, so it's got to be after this. So this was some good stuff. You get some interpersonal relationships with Moira. Never been a big fan of the sort of brainwashed Havoc storylines, but at this point in time, this would have been fairly new. So I don't hate it back then. You get the image inducer for Kurt, so you get to pick him out of a crowd of to which one's actually Nightcrawler. And the team, has a really cool airport battle in this. And I think it's really good. Never been a big fan of Eric the Red's costume. It looks like a little sort of weird bondage fetish, but he doesn't show up that much throughout here.
It's Kirby-esque. That's the kind of stuff Kirby
Yeah,
does.
it is. It is. But yeah. Overall, this is an action-packed issue, and that last panel of this, right before it says the Sentinels return, of the sort of somebody's watching who's watching this, has been used many times in X-Men issues since then. Not entirely sure if this is the first time it was used, but that is certainly a classic panel illustrating that type of stuff. What did you think?
Yeah, looking at this, I really enjoyed the aerial fight scenes between Storm and Polaris. I thought Cochran does some really nice line work to make it look like some frantic movement, that they're actually flying through the air and so forth. That I thought was just excellent. Otherwise, I kind of felt the story was a bit lacking, and maybe some of this is going to be covered in later issues. I have read the pre-cancellation X-Men stuff, but that was years ago. I have no recollection of who Eric the Red is. I don't know how he comes back. There's a mention of Cyclops saying, wait, how could you be back? I used to be Eric the Red. So I have no recollection of what that was all about. So with him just kind of popping in, fighting, running away again, I need more. I need to know what's going on there, and at least in the next issue, I don't think we're getting that. So maybe we'll get it again soon. Again, these issues I haven't read in like 15 years, so my memory is spotty on a lot of this. The two observers at the end, I agree with you. I thought that was interesting. I thought that is leading up to something that might be a bit interesting. Maybe feeding into the interstellar Shi'ar Empire stuff, I think. So that part I don't mind so much. That's intriguing. But I had just a lot of questions with everything else. Fun fight, though.
Yeah, it was. And, it's interesting, too, because I don't know if they had this established back then, but Havoc and Cyclops' powers supposedly cancel each other out. So, the panel on 114 where, he's sort of knocking Cyclops away, I guess is not out of canon because like he shows up on the next page and he's fine. So I guess there could be an idea here where it just kind of pushes him away. But my recollection is their powers don't do anything to each other. So that wouldn't even knock them over. Maybe I'm reading too much into that. So but They also may not have established that back then,
Hmm.
and it might be more of a later thing. So
I know I had in my head canon, and this might have been another one of those misinterpretations when I was a kid, that when Havoc and Cyclops fired their powers at one another, it made the other stronger. And I think that might just have been like, maybe it was a Jim Lee issue or something in Extinction Agenda or something like that, where their shirts ripped off and they're just super muscly. And I think my kid brain interpreted it as, oh, they're getting stronger. I don't think so, but
yeah,
yeah, it you're right. Definitely in later issues, their powers don't affect one another. But yeah. All right. Any other quick thoughts?
no, I think I mean this is just building to some good storytelling. It's getting me excited to understand like what this organization is behind the scenes, what's happening. And since I've already read ahead, I'm really looking forward to talking about the next issue.
Yep. And man, I'll say because we're also reading Morbius at the same time as this, because we're going to do an episode on Morbius later. I'm admittedly enjoying reading the X-Men more than Morbius. All right.
It doesn't feel like Morbin time.
Oh man, I was wondering if that was going to show up. We'll have to wait and see for our, because we haven't recorded that episode yet, but we'll have to see if we got to rein ourselves in on that.
Yeah.
All right, well, if you enjoyed our thoughts on this, follow us on YouTube, where we will read, rate, and review full Epic Collection trade paperbacks every other week. As we mentioned, we're going to be doing Morbius, not this Sunday, but probably the following Sunday because of personal reasons. Any last minute things you want to run by, Stoger?
No, I mean, other than just this is these stories are getting better and better. So, and the more that they can get away from these sort of 60s villains of, a giant monster with one eye, or, somebody in these weird, Kirby-esque bondage uniform, the stories are just going to really kick into high gear as we go through this read through. So I'm looking forward to it.
All right, awesome. Well, thank you so much, Stoger. Thank you guys for watching. This will be our last episode for today. Only episode for today. You can tell we recorded these in advance. All right, guys. We will hopefully see you tomorrow with another episode. Thank you very much. And again, join us again on YouTube.
See you guys.